Well, the world has still gone nutty, buddy, buddy. Even downright cruddy, buddy, buddy. Wish I missed the past, buddy, buddy, but there's still Buddycast. No, don't be nutty, go meet a buddy here on Buddycast.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and host of Buddycast, Nick Sorensen.
Welcome, everybody, to your weekly dose of everybody's favorite show, Buddycast. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen. Thank you for joining us on this cold or warm, wherever you are, day in January. But we got special episodes for you guys today. We've got my new buddy, Devin Harrington. How you doing, Devin?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for joining us on an episode.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. For those of you who don't know, Devin is the owner of a company here in Erie, Pennsylvania called Lake Erie Scoopers. Tell us about Lake Erie Scoopers.
Well, we're just a business here that helps a bunch of individuals, whether they're seniors, busy people, whatever it may be. We take a task off their plate, and that task is usually one that people don't want to do, and that's picking up all the pet waste in the yard.
That is something that a lot of people don't like to do. Trust me, I'm one of them.
Right.
It's the chore that you know you have to do, but you're just like pushing it off as far as you can on the to-do list until it finally just gets to the point of it's now or never,
That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm. So how'd you start the business? Give me the rundown.
Honestly, I've seen it online like probably 7 or 8 years ago at this point now. And it's something that I wanted to do then and just didn't do it. I put it off for a while. And, one day it just like something hit me. I was like, I need to start doing this. So I did a little bit of market research and didn't seem like anyone like really took over this city. So, I just went at it.
Nice. So what, tell me about like the beginning stages of the business. Tell me like how you first started and all that.
Honestly, it was just Facebook. So I had just kind of made some flyers that looked horrible at the time, looking back on it, and just posted on Facebook and started from there. And then it developed into what it is now through word of mouth and just, overall marketing.
Nice. Did you make your logo or did someone else make your logo?
No, I actually did in Canva. So I spent a lot of my time in Canva making all the material.
Nice. How long did it take you to make that logo?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't think the logo took too long because I didn't really have to change like a whole lot to it. It was really just playing with the colors and figuring out what I liked and looked best. And I went with the whole McDonald's strategy with the yellow. So
wait. So take us down the road. How many from when you started to today? How many clients do you have today?
Ooh, today regularly, probably right over the 80 mark. Yeah, started out with like 4. So yeah.
And then word of mouth spread, and before you know it, you're at 80.
No, I know. Yeah, and there's still so much room to grow. It's funny because, I was trying to get an idea of the dog population in Erie, and U.S. city average is around 40% of the human population. So that would put Erie at about 107,000 dogs.
Wow.
I
never knew Erie had that many dogs. I always see you see them online all the time at shelters and everything, but I never knew just how many people owned.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a rough estimate going off of the national average. So I don't really know. I'm very curious. I tried doing so much research over the past months to figure out that number.
Mm-hmm. How many from your clients? Tell us about the range of dogs that you see.
I've done, I think, the most that anyone had owned. I have a few that have 7, so that's a lot. That's a lot of dogs. And then I take care of people that foster dogs and stuff too, and they always have a ton of dogs. So.
Hmm. Nice. Do you take care of people who foster through like Happy Bark and all that?
Yeah, I mean through various organizations. So
Sweet. I have a sister that fosters for Happy Bark, so I hope she watches this episode and gets some ideas.
yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Earlier, you and I were chatting off air, and you said you're kind of like in the slow part of the season, but you're preparing yourself for the busy part of the season. What's it like for being in winter and then getting ready to transition into the spring when you know it's defrosting out there? It's getting to that point, you know?
Right. No, it's going to be crazy. Snow's usually not an issue. Last year, I was able to scoop in the snow. It's just when we get fresh snow and 48 inches, it's not possible to do that. So, yeah, I mean, I've just been plugging things online, making sure that the word of mouth is out there and people know that we exist. And then, like I had mentioned too before we were talking, when we got that first break of no snow and you could finally see the grass again, it was just call after call. So.
With all the calls you get, do you ever think of like developing a team, or do you have a team?
Yeah, no, that's definitely one of the goals. I've got a few people that help me out here and there, but as of right now, no, it's just me. Unless I
Wow.
need someone.
Wow. So you really are preparing for the busy season
Yeah.
coming up here in a couple of months.
Yeah, it's gonna be hectic.
Mhm. Tell me about your rates. Like, tell me about how you do the pricing and all that.
So I base it off of yard size and the number of dogs. So first dog is always including the yard size, and I start at 15. So it'd be 15, 20, 30, 40, and then I'll do in between if it's kind of in between sizes and whatnot.
Okay, so like a small yard would be like small yard, small dog would be like 15, but then it would just grow from there, basic.
Correct. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Give me some testimonials. Like, give me some things that your clients say about your business.
Life changing. Life changing. Uh, Another guy says I do the God's work every time. Absolutely love that. So
Hey,
yeah,
God spelled backwards.
you're right. It's true. Yeah, no,
Mhm.
I really thought about that. But yeah, no, I help a lot of people out. Really, really have an impact on a lot of people's lives, especially some of the seniors out there.
Because they want I see a lot of people, they want the cuteness of the dog. It's like they want the cuteness of the dog. They want, like all the photo opportunities, everything. But then when it comes down to the nitty gritty, what you're doing, it's kind of like, okay, here's the responsibility aspect of it.
Right.
Great.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. They might not be able to take them outside. They just let them go out the door, put them on a lead.
hmm
Uh, so being able to kind of be part of the reason why they can own a dog, it's
Exactly.
pretty rewarding.
Yeah. What about your social media strategy? Tell me about that.
Honestly, I've been slacking lately, but trying to really step that into gear this year. My usual is 3 posts a week. I usually do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Friday being the dog of the week, typically.
Nice.
Yeah.
And tell me about like the content that you post.
Most of it comes right off the top of the head. I'll be driving or just doing anything and then come up with something like, hey, how many paws are in your house? And that's just something that's super engaging that gets people thinking, like, how many paws are in my house?
I can say 8 here.
Yeah. See.
So, what about the one social media campaign that I like that you have is the dog of the week? Tell me that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it started sometime last year. I was like, this would be a good idea. I have enough dogs. So many dogs, I should feature them weekly, and they deserve it. I love playing with the dogs. The owners love seeing their dogs on there. And then it's just great because people want to be featured as dog of the week, and it's really nice and rewarding.
Mhm. That brought a question in my head. When you're out there doing the service, do you prefer that people have their dogs contained and just you go do your thing, or do you not mind it if like the dog's out there playing with you while you're working?
No, as long as the dog's a cool dog and isn't going to cause any problems, I don't mind at all. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'll keep that in
No, I
mind when I
prefer
call
it's
you.
usually yeah,
Yeah.
it's usually a good break in my day. If I get to play with the dog, I can't complain. So
Hmm. I'll keep that in mind when we get you over here and
yeah,
you're constantly playing fetch with the dog that could play all night. So,
yeah. No, it's plenty of those.
mhm. So what about when we mentioned earlier you don't, you're still building a team. What would you look for in that team? What would you look for? What does it take to be a Lake Erie Scooper?
Honestly, just people persons. You got to be a people person for sure. Um, the task itself, sure, it's kind of gross, but it's really not that bad. I mean, I don't step in it or get it on me nearly as much as people might think I do. It's really not that bad. And there's so many precautions you can take to prevent those things from happening.
Hmm. Tell me about some of those precautions.
Um, well, I got booties. I don't wear them often. Starting out, I did just shoe covers, go right over the shoes. I'll still put them on if I'm gonna get into something crazy. That's really about it there.
Just doing that and just watching your step constantly.
Yeah, and then just proper bag handling. When it's time to wrap it up. That's all.
Wonderful. Is there any like special equipment that you use? Is there anything like preferred scooper or something like that?
Like honestly, I want to like make something. Right now I'm using dustpans, like super super big industrial commercial dustpans, which do work very well. But it's like I could almost use something a little bit bigger.
Hmm.
And then just I use small, like 4 or 5 prong rakes. They're stiff and they work really well.
Wonderful. Now, for when it comes to Lake Erie Scoopers, what are your hopes and dreams?
uh, it's a good question. I've got a lot of aspirations for Lake Erie Scoopers, locally and outside of Erie. I mean, it'd be cool to branch from Cleveland all the way up to like Syracuse would be amazing. But I really want to just focus on Erie at this moment.
Mhm.
Um, More community stuff is definitely a big goal. Like it would be amazing to give away a bunch of things regularly and just give back to the community. That's my big focus. So
Nice. Nice. Do you do services outside of Erie?
the farthest I've gone is a little past Union City.
Hmm.
So
Nice. So maybe like something like you wouldn't be like interested like somewhere in New York or like Ohio, something like the closest you'd go is like Jamestown or something like that.
yeah, Jamestown, Ashtabula would be fine. That's
Mhm.
within region for sure.
Sweet. Hey, if you charge extra to go out of state, to go out of state or something like that, like if you charge extra, hey, I'll come to Youngstown, but it's going to cost you this much more in fees.
Right. Yeah. No, I was charging a travel fee for people like Northeast area, and then I just got so many out there that it wasn't even. I was like, I'm not going to charge everyone this much now that I have so many people out here.
Do you base your schedule off of travel, or is it just like a first come first serve situation where like is it always like okay, I've got these three houses in Northeast that are within range of each other, but then tomorrow I'm out in Corey or I'm out in like the city, kind of deal, or is it literally like one day you're one house you're in Northeast, the next you're all the way in like Fairview?
Right. Yeah. So it's crazy because I'm everywhere. I have it pretty optimized. There's like a Venn diagram though where I might be in the middle on both of them. But yeah, usually the one day I start out from like Lake City and go all the way to the Northeast. So
Nice. I was just thinking, I'm like, there's got to be days where like one day you're over here, next day you're all the way over there, or like the next minute you're all the way over there,
right.
or something. How often like does your schedule work? Like, is it like hour increments or um just any time slot that you can fill?
Yeah, yes and no. It's pretty routine. So it's almost like a 9 to 5 schedule at this point, to get up, get out, and that could take 9 to 10 hours.
Hmm. How like what's your average for like a typical yard?
Average what?
Like average time for like completing the job?
Oh, yeah, that varies. I actually haven't checked it recently. I'm able to see that because I have like my metrics on everything. Everything's logged. But if I had to guess, it probably closer to 10 minutes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it's really get in. It's really just get in, do what you have to do. Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow. See you next week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, initially it always takes longer, but once I kind of learn some of the secret spots and whatnot, it's it's in and out. And I got a fast-paced walk, and I'll do a grid walk or whatever it might be to make sure I'm covering as much area as possible throughout everything.
Nice. And do you like when like the owners will say, okay, they typically go over there by the tree, then sometimes I've seen them over there by that bush, stuff like that, like within that range?
Yeah,
Is that helpful to you?
that's super helpful. It might change. Some dogs really stick to it, and then it's weird. Like dogs change their places all the time. It's like, oh, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks is in this one spot, and then I'll go to that spot the next week, and it's all in a different spot.
Wonderful. So, buddy, before we close out this episode, I got 2 more questions for you.
Sure.
The first one comes to us from my buddy Jonas Kane at #positivity. He wants to know, in your own words, what does it mean to be someone's buddy?
Well, that's a good question. I think anybody can be anybody's buddy. Really, it's just being a good person. Whether you even know someone else or not, they can be your buddy as long as you're a good human.
Wonderful. And the final question I have to you, I'm going to split into actually, no, I'm not going to split this question. Sorry, disregard. The final question I have to you is what we call the ultimate Buddycast buddy question. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
For anyone out there who wants to start their own business like you, who wants to be like a Lake Erie Scooper, what's your advice to them?
Just do it. Just start. And this kind of goes with everything, whether it's business or not. There's so many ideas in other businesses I've had ideas of and thought of, and just like sat and like constantly try to strategize how to do it, the best ways to do it. And then I'm just wasting all this time. And then it was funny because with this one, I did it, and then you learn all this stuff along the way. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is just learning everything along the way.
That was going to be a follow-up question. What was the motivation? Just be like, okay, now I got the scooping business idea. I'm going to go for it.
Right. Honestly, I don't know. I just had this breakthrough and I was like, this is it. So
wonderful.
And
before we go, one more question. I lied. How can people find you? How can people learn more about Lake Erie Scoopers and get in contact with you for services?
Sure. Google, Facebook. Can call us up, 814-314-9855. We're text friendly as well. So
I'm sorry, could you repeat that number one more time?
Yeah, it's 814-314-9855.
Lake Erie Scoopers. You okay if I post that in the comments for anybody who watches the replay?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. Alrighty, buddy. Well, thank you so much for joining us on an episode of Buddycast. It was awesome chatting with you.
Yeah, always. Thanks for having me. You've had some pretty awesome guests. So I was surprised when you reached out.
Hey, everybody's a buddy on Buddycast. And I love hearing about small businesses. I love hearing about the impact that they have on the community. I'm glad to see what you're doing. Keep it up. It's not everybody's favorite job, but you know what? It's an important job.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, thank you.
Of course. But, buddy, before we close out this episode, I have one favor to ask you.
Sure thing.
Whatever you're going to do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, even next year, promise me you're going to go out and you're going to go be someone's buddy.
Absolutely. You got it.
You have his word, folks. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen. This is my new buddy, Devin Harrington. Thank you for being a buddy on Buddycast. You're not a guest here. You're a buddy. You're an official buddy now. Thank you all to our buddies that watch from home, from the office when you should be working, from just anywhere. Thanks for being a buddy on Buddycast. We hope you enjoy these episodes. And hey, stick around for more content coming next week. We'll catch you all next time here on everybody's favorite show.